Welcome to the Lash Retention mini class. I'm so excited, you guys, for this class. I put this together especially for you. I'm going to help you with your lash sets lasting longer. We're going to go over all of the things that you need to know in order to improve your lash retention as a lash artist. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so let's talk about what lash retention is. Lash retention is the length of time that your lash sets last on your client. The standard the standard lash retention time is 2 to 3 weeks, meaning that your lash sets, when your client walks out of the door, your lash sets should be lasting 2 to 3 weeks long. Okay. The reason why this is important is because if your lash sets are not lasting 2 to 3 weeks, then that could be a signal that there is some type of misstep in the application process. And we're going to go over all of that. Maybe it's products that you may need to include in your appointment. We're going to go over all of the steps that you need to take in order to improve your lash retention or help it be even better. Okay, another reason why having great lash retention is super important as a lash artist is because you want to build a successful business. In order to build any type of successful business, your clients, they need to be coming back, especially when it comes to any type of service-based business. In order to be booked and busy, that means that you have no more appointments to offer to new clients because your new ones, they just keep coming back. So, one of the keys to have repeat clientele is to have great lash retention. And let's get into all of the ways that you can make sure that you have great lash retention to keep those clients coming back. Okay, so let me just go over briefly what we're going to talk about in this mini class for great lash retention. We're going to go over some of the steps that you can do in prepping your client. We're going to go over the application process. We're even going to go over some of tips and tricks that you can do with your lash glue that will help increase your lash retention time. And then there are a few products that I want to discuss that you can incorporate into your appointment to help your lash sets last longer. Okay, so one of the very basic steps that you can do in order to improve the lash retention on your client is to wash your client's lashes. Now, why is this important? Lash extensions last longer if they are attached to a natural lash that's clean. That means the lashes are free from dirt, they're free from makeup, they're free from oils, including body oils, because our skin produces natural oils. Especially if you have a client that has oily skin naturally, you definitely want to wash her lashes. Now, a question that I get all the time, you guys are always messaging me, when should I wash my client's lashes? You should wash your client's lashes every single appointment. This includes fills and this includes full sets. So every time that your client comes in, you want to wash her lashes. You do not want to take her word for it that her lashes are clean. You want to wash them yourself. Here are a few tips that I have for washing lashes. I definitely make sure that I use a brush in order to really get into those extensions. I definitely make sure that I pay attention to the base near the lash line. Also, make sure that you're brushing through the lash extensions. If this is a fill appointment, you really want to make sure that you get thoroughly into those lash extensions. Also, make sure that they are completely dry before you start the appointment. Um, and also, quick tip for my clients, I use Viva paper towels. They have like a cloth like texture and they feel really soft against the skin. They're a little bit more expensive, but the clients can definitely tell the difference when I use Viva paper towels. Okay, so let's get into another important part of lash retention. That is lash isolation. What is lash isolation? Lash isolation looks like this picture up here, where you use the tweezers to isolate the natural lash, get it by itself, get it away from the other natural lashes in order to place the lash extension. The reason why lash isolation is so important to lash retention is because you want to make sure that that lash extension, when you place it, it's not attached to any other lashes that may be on the far end of the growth cycle, meaning that they are about to shed. Okay, lash using proper lash isolation when you are lashing, it definitely helps not only your lash retention, it makes the lash extensions more comfortable for the client to wear, meaning there's no pinching, poking, none of that. Also, your lash sets look better. Okay, so lash isolation is extremely, extremely important. Up at the top, this picture up here, this is an example of great lash isolation. If you look over to the right, this is an example of bad isolation. You see how that lash extension is attached to multiple natural lashes, and even it looks like a second lash extension. That is an example of really, really bad isolation, and that is not what you want. Okay, so up at the top, you can see an example of how to isolate the natural lash. I get a lot of questions on how to isolate the natural lash, so I wanted to include an example of that. Also, here's a tip. You guys don't always have to use just one tweezer to isolate the natural lash. You can definitely use two tweezers to really get in there to isolate it, okay? Okay, now let's go over Lash Adhesive. Just a little update on events. I will be doing a Lash Glue Masterclass for all of my TikTok subscribers. If you're not following me on TikTok, I definitely suggest that you do. If you're following me and you're not subscribed to my TikTok, I definitely advise that you subscribe so you can get access to these exclusive master classes. Also, I will be dropping a lash adhesive ebook that will be coming soon. Okay, so let's get back to lash retention and why it's so important. Okay, so lash retention and lash adhesive are really like a pair made in heaven, okay? Because you have to make sure that one is good to get the other. One of the main ways that lash retention is not good, meaning the lash sets are not lasting as long as they should, which is 2 to 3 weeks, is because the lash adhesive is not being used properly. And I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to use your lash adhesive properly. The first thing is make sure that your humidity and your temperature within your lash space matches what the glue requires. Every lash adhesive has to be used in a specific humidity and temperature, okay? So before you buy the glue, make sure that that glue matches the humidity and temperature within your lash space so that glue can perform the way that it needs to perform. Keep in mind that lash adhesive is nothing but a bottle of chemicals, okay? And those chemicals are very, very sensitive to the humidity and temperature, okay? It even changes, like if you ever notice that your glue may be like super, super thick at sometimes and super, super thin at sometimes, that is due to changes, most likely to changes in humidity and temperature. So when you're using your glue, make sure that the requirements, the humidity and the temperature requirements of your lash adhesive actually match your lash base. Okay, that's the first tip. The second tip is it's super simple. Shake your lash glue before you use it. If you're shaking your glue by hand, you want to shake it for at least a minute. If you are using a glue shaker, like the machine, you want to shake it for 30 seconds. Okay? The third tip that I have and how to use your lash glue in order to improve lash retention is change your glue dot every 15 minutes, okay? If you're using a jade stone, use a new glue dot after 15 minutes because the glue adhesive gets old. The chemicals within the lash adhesive, they start to dry out. At the minute that they are exposed to oxygen, the glue starts to dry. The chemicals in the glue starts to dry, okay? So you want to make sure that you're not using old glue, okay? As you are lashing your client, you want to change out that glue dot every 15 minutes. If you're using a lash ring, you want to change that lash ring every 15 minutes to ensure that you are using fresh glue on your client and you're not using glue that's already kind of old. Okay, if you are not changing out your glue and you're having bad retention, that's probably wise because you're using old glue throughout the appointment because you're not changing the lash glue. Okay, you going back to tip 2, you want to make sure that you're shaking your glue before every client to make sure that those chemicals in the lash glue are mixed well so the glue can perform at its best ability. Okay, so those are 3 tips that you can use for your lash adhesive to ensure that you're using it properly in order for your lash sets to last longer. If you guys want more tips on lash adhesive, again, I'm doing that masterclass exclusively for my TikTok subscribers. And also, I'll be coming out with a lash adhesive ebook really soon. Okay, so let's also talk about lash adhesive as well. Let's talk about the amount of glue that you should be using on your lash extension. Now, this particular graphic is by London Lash. That is a great company to follow for lash tips. So make sure that you do use them, and they have great graphics. As you guys can see, when you are dipping your lash extension into the natural lash, you want to make sure that you are using enough glue. The 2 examples on the left show you that you only need 1 or 2 glue dots at the base of the lash extension. The 2 examples on the right shows that that's like way too much glue, okay? So make sure that when you are dipping your lash extension into the glue that you're using the right amount of glue, okay? So let's talk about lash products, okay? 2 products that may help with your lash retention. The first product is primer. Okay, so let's talk about what primer actually is. Lash primer helps to achieving a faster attachment time by helping to dissolve those natural oils or makeup residue, and it also helps to balance the pH of the natural lash. So when you balance the pH of the natural lash and you kind of dissolve some of those natural oils on the natural lash, it really helps to bond the natural lash to the lash extension, which equates to better lash retention. Okay, now keep in mind, lash primer is not a replacement for washing the client's lashes. Okay, you still want to wash the client's lashes, but if you have a client that has oily skin or you really want to make sure that your retention is really good by making sure that that extension adheres to that natural lash, after you wash the lashes for a full set, you want to go ahead and dry the lashes and then possibly apply primer if that's what you want to do. Okay. What you want, 3 things that primer actually does is the primer strips the natural lashes of the oils, like I said earlier. It gives like a clean slate for the pH of the natural lash so that lash extension can bond the way that it needs to bond. Also, it makes sure that the lash extension actually is in place when you go ahead and attach that lash extension to the natural lash. One thing about primer, make sure that you don't apply that to the client's lashes if the area if the lash lid looks dry or the lashes look weak. Because keep in mind that primer is going to strip the natural lashes. I'm sorry, the natural oils on the client's natural lashes. So if the lashes are already weak, you definitely don't want to strip them of any oils they need in order to grow and become stronger. Okay, so the second product I want to go over that will help with your lash retention, this actually comes after the appointment, okay? And this is Lash Bonder. Lash Bonder adds to the elasticity of the adhesive and it makes it just a little bit more flexible and easier to work with, which makes for better lash retention. Bonder is always used after you're fully done applying all of the lash extensions after the appointment is done, and it's applied at the base of the lash extension. Please do not be using Bonder and stroking the full length of the lash extension. You only need to apply Bonder at the base where you actually attach the lash extension to the natural lash. Okay. Also, when you are using Bonder, make sure that you are paying attention to the humidity and the temperature because Lash Bonder is just as sensitive to those two factors, just like Lash Glue is. Also, Lash Bonder lasts up to 6 months. Okay. So, Lash Bonder and Lash Primer are two products that you can add to your arsenal that will help improve your lash retention. Okay, so let's go over a few upcoming events going on over with the lash specialist. Okay, so I have a few ebooks coming out as well as a lash mapping masterclass part 2. You guys really love part 1. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and click the link to watch the lash mapping masterclass part 1. Also, I'm thinking of doing these classes live for my email subscribers. So if you are subscribed to my email, if you are part of the Lash Tribe, I'm really working on doing these mini classes live so you guys can ask questions in real time. And I'm really, really excited about that. Okay, so let's go over the lash mapping masterclass that you guys can get by clicking the link. This was an exclusive class that I offered to my TikTok subscribers. We really took the guesswork out of lashing, and I really wanted to help you guys lash faster. So you guys don't have to worry about what lash style to use and how to customize lashes to your client's face. So for the lash mapping masterclass part 1, I went over the lash mapping basics, lash zones, lash links, also lash placement, which is really, really important when it comes to lash mapping. I also went over how to draw a lash map, and I also went over the basic lash map that every beginner lash artist should learn, just in order to be able to lash faster, to give more customized looks for your clients. I went over those basic lash maps that you guys should learn. Okay, so you can get and watch this masterclass. Just click the link in my bio to watch it. Also, look out for part 2 that's coming as well. Again, I will be working on getting live viral classes like this for you guys. So you guys can ask questions in real time. I could give you advice, and you can learn right on the spot. And it won't just be like topics that are specific to lash skills. I'm also going to go over topics and tips that you guys need to know in order to build your lash business. Finally, if you guys want to find me, I have YouTube, TikTok, a blog, and an email address. On TikTok, I give more lash tips, short tutorials, and I give those exclusive masterclass classes to my subscribers. On my blog, you can definitely read a lot of the lash tips and tricks at your convenience just to help you on your journey. If you are my email subscribers, that is where it is at, is my email is my email list. I give them first dibs. They get all of my recorded content, my mini classes like this first. They get free downloads, free guides. They get ebooks, ebooks, all of that directly into their inbox. Like they don't even have to search for the information. This mini class is going to be emailed directly into their inbox. So they don't even have to search for lash tips. It's just right there ready to go. So if you want to get into my email list, go ahead and leave me a comment below. If you're already on my email list, congratulations. I'm so ready to push out more of these classes for you guys. And if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me a comment on any of my platforms, and I'll be more than welcome to help you out in your lash journey. Thank you so much, you guys, for attending my mini class.